Okay, everyone, it's the video you've all been waiting for. Sorry it took so long to get here. SM Entertainment Exposed. I don't want to delay this any longer. I've outlined this video for a very long time, and I think this was the longest video that I've ever prepared for. But I know for a fact that I missed so many things that I probably don't even know. But I really want to show the basic overview of SM's shady dealings. Basically, this video will be a timeline of SM throughout the years and each scandal and wrongdoings from the company by year. I figured this would be a better format than my previous videos just because this way my points will sort of come across more concisely and more consistently. And also you guys will see that SM truly gets into so much shit each year after year. So here we go. All right, so just some background info on SM Entertainment if anyone doesn't already know, but you still clicked on this video. Star Museum Entertainment was founded in 1989 and taken over in 1995 by Lee Soo-man. It became home to acclaimed first-generation groups such as Shinhwa, HOT, SES, and SM Entertainment pretty much revolutionized the idol K-pop culture of training and producing artists. The second generation turned to a process of creating perfect performers, and this video is going to be an oral history of that process and where SM went wrong along the way, and I think a lot of you will see a lot of reoccurring themes here. In 1996, SM debuted their first hit boy group, HOT. The group became a big hit and is recognized today as one of the most iconic pillars in K-pop history. After them, the agency developed an in-house production system and produced other successful artists such as SES, Shinhwa, and BOA. The only friction experienced here was when HOT and SES disbanded, as some would not let them renew their contract as individual groups, rather as solo artists. This created internal conflict, resulting in both the band's disbandment of the groups in the early 2000s. Shinhwa also left SM, but it was somewhat amicable. Then began the era of the second generation. SM produced some new groups in the beginning of the early 2000s, but they did not meet the success anywhere near of the first ones. This is where the trainee process started to be implemented. Lee Soo-man had a formula for creating successful groups, so he capitalized on the process. The second generation of SM artists popularized the concept of contracting young kids desperate to debut and then train them for years under the label. In 2003, SM debuted TVXQ, who were then 5, and 2 years later, in 2005, Super Junior debuted as well. In July 2009, 3 TVXQ members submitted an application to the Seoul Central District Court to determine the validity of their SM contract. It was decided that the duration of their contract was excessively long and that the group's earnings were not evenly distributed among members. If the group would have disbanded then, the penalty would have cost them twice the profit that the group was estimated to make in the rest of their contract, which was roughly around 11 billion won. These 3 members, who continued as JYJ, won the lawsuit against SM and was able to terminate their 13-year slave contract with SM. But as soon as they left, SM called a press conference saying that the lawsuit was fraudulent and denying the previous claims JYJ had made. And after they debuted as their own subunit, SM actually blocked them from TV appearances, trying to blackball them in the K-pop industry. This was just the beginning of SM lawsuits and artist conflicts. Later, 5 months after the whole TVXQ debacle, Hang-geun, the leader from Super Junior M, also filed a lawsuit against SM of similar circumstances. He argued the 13-year contract was unlawful and that he wasn't allowed to revise it, and that the company forced him to do things against his will, and that he was fined if he ever disobeyed the company or missed any events. There was an also unfair profit distribution in Super Junior, and that SM denied him a day off in 2 years, which resulted in him getting gastritis and kidney disease. In the court statement about SM's violation, it included that SM purposely turned down individual activities for gang, treated his potential endorsers poorly, and discriminated against his family financially. SM had seen major contract allegations during the second generation, some of the worst in K-pop. Nonetheless, it was from their 2 most popular boy groups at the time. They, of course, also had popular soloists and new popular rookie groups like Girls' Generation and FX, but their scandals and conflicts did not end there. In 2010, the FTC, or the Fair Trade Commission organization, investigated SM's policy and artist contract terms following the two major ones the year before. The FTC concluded that the contract terms were unfair and consequently, the artist contracts were reduced by 3 years for all the artists and reduced penalties for a breach of contract. But the following year, SM got in trouble with the FTC again and was fined for price rigging their artists' music and were fined up to $2 million US dollars. Now jumping forward a bit, 2014 was a rough year for SM Entertainment and their artists in general. In May 2014, Chris Wu, a Chinese member from EXO, filed a lawsuit against SM, claiming they never respected his opinions and health when scheduling promotional activities and that they were also treating him like a machine rather than an artist or entertainer. Chris was represented by the same lawyer who previously handled Hang Gang's case. He left the group in the same month and officially left the agency in 2016 when the lawsuit was settled. A couple months after Chris left EXO, the heartbreaking news of Jessica Jung leaving SNSD surfaced. There was a lot of backlash on Jessica leaving and what happened, but she claimed that she had been forced out of the group. She said that she was excited about their upcoming fan meetings and events after the group's contract renewal, but was informed that she was no longer a part of the group. Basically, the scandal was about her businesses and her deciding on her own solo endeavors or Girls' Generations or whatever. But the whole situation was executed very poorly and everyone was so confused. After the public learned that Jessica left SNSD, the company lost around $65 million. And in 2015, Jessica officially left SM for good. Only a month after Jessica left SNSD and SM seemed to be at their lowest, Luhan, a previous Chinese member of EXO, filed a lawsuit against SM, being the second Chinese member to do so. He claimed there was discrimination between Chinese and Korean members and that they did not receive enough living resources and suffer from health issues due to overexhaustion and stress. This was only 4 months after Chris claimed the exact same things in his lawsuit. After this announcement came public, the company's stock dropped by almost 10%, and similarly in 2016, Luhan also parted ways from SM and EXO when the lawsuit was settled. Here are the statements of the lawsuit's decisions from 2016 of Chris and Luhan's court decisions. I guess they both sort of got what they wanted, but they're not technically free in Korea or Japan and won't be allowed to promote much there. This is just another example of SM trying to blackball artists that go against them and attempting to sabotage their future careers. So up until 2022, when both of their contracts officially end, the two will be subject to giving 10% of their earnings to SM Entertainment. Moving on, also in 2014, Sully from the girl group FX also took a break from the group's activities due to harsh online bullying and bad comments. In 2015, she officially left the group, leaving fans crushed, but she did so to focus on her acting career. We'll talk more about FX later. 2015 was not a much better year for SM either. In April of that year, former Trax member No Minu filed a lawsuit against SM for subjecting him to an unlawful 17-year contract. This was especially suspicious since SM supposedly had changed their contract policies after the FTC investigated them years before. He also accused that SM interfered with his career after he had left the company and sought 100 million Korean won for what they put him through. Unfortunately, Minu lost the lawsuit the following year. Later that year, the third Chinese member from EXO, Teo, filed a lawsuit against SM with almost identical claims that of his other Chinese members. He stated SM delayed the treatment of his injuries during activities, that there was discrimination between EXO-K and EXO-C, that the Chinese members were discriminated against, and the company's refusal to modify his contract. His father released a letter Teo wrote about leaving the group, saying his health continuously deteriorated while under the group and he will continue to be a singer after leaving. He had to bring his own son to the doctor after the company ignored him for too long. He was happy to see his son come home and leave that bad environment. Teo was represented by the same team that represented Chris and Luhan in Hang Gang's case. In January 2016, SM won their counter lawsuits against Teo, and then the agency sued him over his failure to repay the company after his departure. They released a statement saying that they still had ongoing lawsuits pending against the former Chinese EXO members for violating their contracts and partaking in illegal promotions in China. Among these lawsuits, SM filed a lawsuit against Teo for failing to repay SM as well. Today, he is subject to repay SM plus interest for delaying the payment. SM Entertainment is the only entertainment agency in Korea to ever have 6 lawsuits filed against them by former artists, as well as being subject to claims of violation of unfair use of music and products. Also, the fact that these lawsuits have a lot of the same claims of too long slave contracts, unfair treatment, and neglect says a lot. I hope this shows just how much SM exploits the artists and how money hungry they are. Now transitioning to more recent news, I'm just going to talk about SM Entertainment treatment outside of the legal bounds. This is an account taken from a past SM trainee. Stella Kim, an American-born Korean-American girl, was scouted by SM Entertainment when she was in middle school, which is when she said she began to struggle with self-image. She said they would make us stand in line and go on the scale, and they will call out what your weight is in front of everybody. If your weight had not gone down from the week prior, you would get bashed on. Stella claims she was pressured to undergo miniature procedures to make her face look better, but thankfully she never caved in for any of these procedures. Stella was set to debut around the time of Girls' Generation, but ultimately her family saw the toll trainee life had had on her and decided it was not the best course of action to continue as she was still underage. After returning to the US, regretting not joining SNSD because of their immediate success after debut and experiencing socializing problems in school, Stella developed an eating disorder and was 40 kilograms or 88 pounds at her lowest. Stella said the image of women in K-pop made her feel insecure, the constant sexualization and impossible physical standards they must meet. Kim is still dealing with her insecurities today, but she says she is stronger than ever from learning from her mistakes. She takes acting gigs here and there and is a global marketing professional and is very fine now and is doing very well for herself. It's often said Lee Soo-man ruined K-pop with the creation of the trainee process, changing the message of K-pop from the music to how idols look and presenting themselves. It's a shame that Stella went through such a traumatic and detrimental experience at such a young age, but in reality, this happens to a lot of trainees and they go through it like all the time, and sometimes the pressure just becomes too much. We see the frustration of SM artists with working hard and trying to keep their image and staying at the top, even though the company puts them in an impossible position. In early 2017, Amber from FX posted a photo to Instagram that she was told she was not good enough for SM despite all her years under the company and all the hard work she gave to them. This post worried fans a lot, and at that point, it had been years since FX had a comeback. In early 2017, Sully had renewed her contract with SM Entertainment for her acting career, but no news of what SM had planned for FX even surfaced. Even today, fans are desperate for FX comeback, and even though it seems it will never come, FX truly deserved better. Similarly, Henry from Suju also made a similar post a year before in 2016, along the lines of being pressured under SM, saying he can't do it alone and that it's been a mistake for 9 years, that he feels stuck. This year in April, it was announced that he had left and parted ways with SM. Previously in 2014, only months before Jessica left SNSD, Taeyeon appeared on Healing Camp and confessed about feeling empty after debuting and can't keep track of time and feeling like she hit puberty at a later age because of the group's success. She admitted that she drinks to help her sleep better at night and that SNSD is all that she has. I've said this before, but mental health is so ignored in South Korea and that it's seen as such a taboo subject, but I think it's so important, especially for these idols who are so subject to extreme social pressures, to really take it seriously. It was also revealed that Taeyeon had received an IV drip when recording her song Fine so that she could stay energized and up while recording. Another infamous piece of information is how SM subject Girls' Generation to a 1,500 calorie diet per day at the height of their careers. This may not seem like a bad portion to some people, but for young women singing, dancing, performing, and always busy with their really jam-packed schedules, it definitely was not enough for the girls. One problem I've seen surface a lot online is how NCT's managers treat them behind closed doors. There's a lot of clips of SM managers controlling how they act and what they say on live streams and whatnot, and this just shows how controlling SM can be. SM has not released a statement on how the boys are treated as of yet, but I feel like they really should. Like, what even is that? I don't understand, but that's just another thing. Earlier this year, HOT, the original big pillar for SM in the first generation, announced their reunion concert, but it was not to be conducted under SM. They are not allowed to use their group's logo in promotions because a producer from SM holds the trademark rights to the group's name, and if that they want the group's logo, royalties must be paid. This isn't the first time we've heard of this behavior from SM, and while it may seem small and not very important, it shows SM will get back at any artist who went against them, regardless of the good or bad business that it brought them. Also this year, SM took down Jonghyun's memorial, which fans were very understandably pissed about. I don't even know or understand why they would do that, but I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it alone. Like, I'll just say he did not deserve that, and his memory does not deserve that. But there's also the rumors I haven't talked about that SM makes them the worst, such as how they pay their artists less than JYP and YG artists, and that ex-trainees used to be abused while receiving lessons, and that apparently the FTC investigated SM again in 2017 over unfair contracts and decided to allegedly remove the clause that stated SM artists and trainees cannot cancel their contract over ambiguous reasons, but I don't have confirmation that that's 100% true, so I don't want to say it like it is. Anyways, in conclusion, SM sucks. I'll be honest, I do love the artists and their music, and I think that they make really good quality stuff, but I just dislike the company itself and how they made K-pop into such like a manufactured business. So that's just my opinion on SM, and I think you guys can sort of see why I think that with all these points. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll try not to delay it like this again. I was just really trying to like put as much into it as possible. So I don't want to delay another video like this again. My next video, I sort of want to like respond to your K-pop opinions instead of making a part 3 of my own. So leave some opinions below and you might just be included in my next video. I think that'll be a lot of fun, which will hopefully be up next week. Also, just any suggestions for content or your opinions on SM2 would be great. So just leave a comment and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.